Are you searching for an electric sedan, maybe of the price range of a Tesla Model 3, but you want the space of a Tesla Model S? VW says, we have the answer for you now, but does it really work? How good is the all-new VW ID7, including a driving review? We'll find out with Thomas Nautofuel in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here with that front, and you can see the light strip then goes all the way across the front. Pretty nice look. And also here, these ones are the optional matrix lights, IQ light. They have an additional illumination on the inside that looks pretty fancy. Lower part here is a black contrast, and this beautiful color is called Moonstone Gray. I think it's quite trendy at this moment, you know, to have this. Let's say back in the days you would have said that this is kind of like a base color or like an unfinished color, but more and more people like it, and I like it too. What do you think? I just told these guys to cut their work for just a few minutes, that we can record a better audio there, you know, that they're cutting the trees and then would disturb the audio. 4 meters 96 or 195 inches is the length of the VW ID7. Full size would be, at least for European purposes, so length rather like a Model S, when you know, like this one longer like a Model 3. Then wheels 19 to 20 inch. These ones are the bigger ones you can see right here. Black contrast in the lower part. Overall a very elegant styling, I feel. It has this really fluent roof. This does a very good CD value actually at 0.23. And it is also a fastback style, so no classic sedan. I will show you right here that the hatch then opens in that way, giving you a free access. Soon we'll tell you more about the space on the inside and about the trunk. I always like these traditional houses with the bright stones here in southern France. Looks very beautiful when the car is in front of that, right? Rear design here, we can see. See this light animation here that is greeting us when we approach the vehicle from behind, and then the light strip goes all the way through. Pretty cool actually. And this one here is the so-called Pro model. Has the smaller battery with 77 kilowatt hours net and an acceleration figure of 6.5 seconds. Then there later will be the Pro S model, which has a bigger battery at 86 kilowatt hours, and that one we expect a 5.4 seconds in the acceleration. This approaching feature is also possible in the front and looks quite cool. So when I get closer to the vehicle, then it opens, and here you can see there's this animation of the front headlamps. It's supposed to give you some human feeling interaction. You know, it's like an eye looking left and right to greet you. There we go. When you leave the vehicle, you also have this goodbye show. Turning indicators in the front, very visible. And in the rear, pretty cool if you have the IQ light. Look at that here. This cascading style with these layers. And now one of the most exciting features of the vehicle. Usually all the charging flaps open sideways, but look at that. Da-da, da-da. Oh my God. I mean, it's a nice idea. Why not? Because then it's maybe protecting against rain or something with the flap itself. Yeah, why not? AC and DC charging. Hashtag prototype vehicle, but I don't know. Yeah, that happens. So we don't edit out stuff that is not pleasant to the manufacturers. That's it. But overall, I think pretty cool, this charging flap. What about the recharging times? So this Pro model here with the smaller 77 kilowatt hour battery, we have a 170 kilowatt peak, and that means 30 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. The Pro S model with the 86 kilowatt hour battery will have a 200 kilowatt peak in fast charging, and then goes 25 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. And a special insight for you, in the front it's the same, but in the side profile, this version here is different. Let me just show you that. Here, a clear view of the ID7 Tourer. So they do not name it variant or something. They will call it Tourer for the first time here, an estate model of a Volkswagen. And you can see the difference is, first of all, CD value a little bit worse actually. It's down 0.23. This one here 0.24. CD value, this, you know, this wind coefficient is always worse when it's higher actually. And you can see here the roofline is carried out a little bit further. And when we come around, we can see the rear is from the light signature, it will be the same. Here at the moment it's still in this camouflage look, but of course you will have a little bit more space. Liter figures will be 545 liters up to 1715 liters, and that means in the base setup 15 liters more, and in the whole setup with seats down, because then you also can count the whole height and so on, then you are at plus 115 liters overall. Would you go for the estate version or would you stick with the sedan version? Tell me in the comments. This one here, thought for the European market. Car key, yeah, that's the high gloss black stuff. Don't like it that much. Then the door handle itself, flush, and it does give you some feedback from underneath. Door closing sound. Really good, like that. Then inside materials, soft touch at the top part, high grade leather right here with this blue contrast. Also nice how the door handle is integrated. This one here is all hashtag capacitive BS, not my favorite, and also that you don't only have two window levers, but that's also splitting opinions. Some prefer it that way, that you press rear and then you control the rear so you don't accidentally hit the rear windows, but I prefer it in a four-way. Did I just say that? So in here, door pockets are also covered with felt on the inside, and that's where you open the trunk. Interior, steering wheel is already animal free, so looking forward into the future, or actually into the present, then here illuminated hashtag capacitive BS buttons at the steering wheel. In all new electric generations that come next in a couple of years, they will go back to physical buttons again there too. And then here on the seat, this is then the microfiber seat, the most elaborated one. This one is available in this black styling with blue contrast, or also in the bright styling that also looks pretty cool. The seat logic is that you begin with a base fabric seat, then you step up to a normal microfiber seat, and then you have these two elaborated microfiber seats, these ergo active seats. Here in the front you can also put the lower part a little bit longer. You also have a seat massage. It is actually way better than past seat massage that was offered by Volkswagen. Yeah, but it's not the most necessary feature, but it's actually quite cool. So I can feel it here in the lower part already, and wait a minute, maybe it is cool. I just start to feel it. Why not? Live on Autogefühl. Then headroom 186 or 189. Yeah, I'm just irritated by the seat massage, thinking about something else at the moment. So there's a lot of headroom left, no problem. Steering wheel, manual control, up and down, in and out, that's it. And these seats here are super comfortable, and I feel these are among the most comfortable seats out there in general. And I mean, there are very good seats also with the competitors meanwhile and so on, but I feel they have among the best seat ergonomics overall. So I can very well imagine going a long road trip here now. Long road trip? Will that work with the range? We'll find out very soon with the efficiency and so on when we drive it. So I really love this perforated microfiber with the cooling function. It's the best you can get, like a microfiber fabric, and then also cooled, the best for hot summer days. The US models, I heard that they also get a full leatherette option. Let's see about that. Interior cockpit overview, pretty clean. 15-inch screen, always that size here. And then VW says, take that Tesla. Digital instruments, small, but they are there. And also the head-up display, a real one projected into the screen. You pick the gears right here, forward for D, reverse like this. Yeah, but then again, Tesla says, take that Volkswagen, because look at that, the rear camera, the quality, and also, it doesn't react that quickly, I feel. So software and the hardware behind the software, that is again where Tesla is leading. However, they have upgraded this system here now. In the D mode, by the way, you use the brake pedal for recuperation or the automatic recuperation when the car is in front of you. And when you press it one more time forward for the B mode, that is then close to one pedal driving. Just pick it depending on your liking. First of all, you still have these sliders, and I don't like these sliders. However, it's better to have these sliders than not to have anything at all besides the screen. And they are also backlit now. It's hard to see it when it's light outside. This is then the volume control, for example, but you can also mute it here on the left side. Interesting is that as for the seats, you either press here for seat cooling or here for seat heating, always stays in that place. And if you want more elaborate commands, click here. Then here, for example, the dry boost, this one then heats and ventilates at the same time when you're getting wet or something, and then you get in the vehicle. Cool idea. And here, by the way, you can also trim the seat massage, put it more intense, and I really have to say this is the best seat massage that Volkswagen has offered yet. This is more luxury than in a VW Touareg, for example. Wow, ooh, that's really strong now. I'm really starting to like seat massage. Have to revise my opinion. I think I would take that one. Apple CarPlay or Android Auto integration looks like this. Wow, super large indeed. So on the one hand, a large screen can be distracting. On the other hand, when everything is large, you can easily press it also, and then it's less distracting when you can easily press things. Both CarPlay and Android Auto also available wireless. And also important for all European customers, here when you want to quickly deactivate this new speed warning chime on the top, assist, then click here and then deactivate it here. That's the thing that when you exceed the speed a little bit, then it's like bing, 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 and it can be quite annoying. Or you can, for example, set this warning threshold a little bit higher. Then it's also fine that it doesn't bing when it exceeds 1 kilometer an hour or something. You always have to do it at the same startup. Some manufacturers already have quicker hotkeys. Some have no hotkeys or shortcuts at all. This one here is at least, let's say, not the slowest way. It's okay. And a very important option, the DCC, the Adaptive Suspension Dynamic Chassis Control. Also optionally available here for the ID7. And where to pick the driving modes, because there is no separate hotkey for that. That's again something, not sure if I like that. But at least you can access it quite easily. You press mode here in the top button, and then there is this large selection. Here more comfortable, here sport here for example, also changes the color, or individual. It's also quite cool. So you can have an individual mode and then really rule the DCC from minus to plus. How does it work? This is kind of like always the preset. This is like when you would have sport, and DCC always then rules between the spectrum. So it's not only here, but always like from here to here. And then you can select when you, for example, here, it's like from here. And this would be then the softer setting. And then you can also control if you want to have the steering wheel a little bit, more feedback or not, and so on. 14-speaker Harman Kardon system is an option, and you can also set your different sound profiles. This is more for voice, this is more for club music, or you can have a more, for relaxing music and so on. So it depends. And overall, I feel, it's a very crisp quality, so that also fits to this more premium approach here. Spacious middle console, first of all. Below, there's large space, like this. And then above that, there's this cover. Here, the very early reviews were here a little bit different. They have now changed this material quality. No high gloss black, just at the side. So it's actually quite cool, this matte atmosphere. Just these rubber pads here, they are not the best from the build quality, I feel. Then we slide this one open, a lot of space. In the front, there's an inductive charging pad. Doesn't have the best contact though, I feel. I prefer always the cable connection. And then cup holders, they hold also smaller bottle side, but you can also take that whole thing out if you like. And then there's this really nice split middle console with more space underneath. Rear seating area, same nice styling with the perforated microfiber. And then we can see inside of the door, soft touch here, nice beautiful design, microfiber inserts there, and also felt at the inside of the door pockets, hardback just in the lower part. And when I take a seat here, I was pretty far behind. This I would probably be driving, but in any case, there's a lot of legroom left here. And that's also, for example, even longer or even more than in Tesla Model S. So among all of the competitors, they have so much legroom. Why is that? They use a pretty short front hood, and then they put the length all the way in the rear. It's actually also fairly comfortable here. Put up the head restraint, and then, headroom, it is this falling roofline for the CD value. With my height, it does exactly fit. I can still put a hand over my head, that's it. And then I could also sit in the middle part using that EV platform. Yeah, it's a little bit stiffer in the middle part, but that's actually it. So a very well usable rear. This glass roof is fixed and does not have a cover. However, you can see there is this electrochromatic shade. So I use this slider, slide forward or backward. And then you can see here, this is then the shade, open, shade, open, Homer Simpson style, shade, open, shade, open. And in the middle part, you have a separate climate unit for the rear seats, hashtag capacitive BS though, and even rear seat heating. And underneath, some USB-C chargers. Does it frunk or not? No, it does not. They put parts in here, like the battery, wiper fluid. So I would like to know from you guys, is having a frunk in an electric vehicle crucial to you? Or do you say, I don't care, put the charging cable in the rear anyway and so on? I would really like to get your feedback on this. Let's check out the trunk or the boot. And this is the big advantage to some other sedans, like also the Tesla Model 3. Here, this fast big opening, such an easy access like with an Estate. And you have a width of about 1 meter or 40 inches. And also the length is actually a little bit more than 1 meter or 40 inches. That's good. Underneath, you have some more space, and you can also take out this whole first cover. This one to have an even loading sill, but you can also gain more height. And underneath that one here, you even can store another charging cable. Total length then to the front seats, and that's of course pretty impressive here. That goes into direction of 185 or 73 inches. And we have to talk about pricing. So I have a German price for this one already. It's like the Pro model, 77 kilowatt hour battery, rear-wheel drive, and will be around 57,000 euros. When you put some more extras in it, maybe 60,000 euros. Meanwhile, they have a lot of standard equipment to, comparison to past models, but they will have some extras in there, definitely. So, and if you then take the base price of a Tesla Model 3 with the long-range model battery, this one here will be at least 5,000 euros more expensive in the list price, with some extras, maybe 10,000 euros or something. So there is a price gap between this one and Tesla. Then again, here you get more space, especially in the rear, fastback trunk and so on, so you get more flexibility. But then, of course, you always have to pay attention to what is the concise dealer price. And Tesla is very strict in their pricing policy. There's no discount and so on and so on. But then recently they have also lowered the prices in general. However, if you then take a look at leasing rates, and at this moment, most people lease electric vehicles because they don't know, hey, how is the battery technology evolving and so on. And VW, with their large dealer power and so on, usually they offer better leasing prices than Tesla. So it could be that although it is higher in a list price, you then maybe even get a better leasing rate than the Tesla Model 3. We have to see about that. It will be very exciting. And then maybe it will be evened out as for the price. Let's see about that. Thomas's driving lounge with the Vw ID7. And we start here. Suspension test, these bumps, speed humps, and also destroyed roads. We have here the DCC set on the comfort mode at the moment. And that's working very well. 20-inch wheels, of course, always means a little bit less comfort than with the 19-inch wheels. If you want the softest comfort, you would go to the individual DCC mode, put it all the way to the left side, and also go for the 19-inch wheels. Then you actually have the softest ride. But so far here, again, the speed bump works very well. So I feel that is already one of the best tests here with the destroyed road. Good comfort. And I can already say so far, just after a few meters, and of course we've done one test ride already here with the ID7, the seats are just awesome. So they deliver really, really a great... Oh, cats. Really slow now. Kitties. So they really deliver a great comfort in the seating. Also long-term, good shoulder support. They take weight off your shoulders and so on. And we'll do an extensive loop now. Exactly drive the same way back and forth with, countryside roads, but we'll also have some motorway, and then we can tell you more about the concise consumption and so on. Here, when we start out, that will be very interesting. Now I'll go to the sport mode, gives you best boost, best throttle input and so on. Suspension is stiffer, and I'll accelerate out in this corner, rear-wheel drive. Let's see also how the steering is, and how calm it is, and how this acceleration works. Then I would say, let's go. Plop, that's 76 kilometers an hour. That was beautiful, nice acceleration, and you see how smooth the steering went back and so on. Wow, super nice, very controlled feeling, and also a nice boost out. So even if you go for the Pro model here with the little bit smaller battery, you have a very good acceleration. And for me, this acceleration out of the corner is always a very good test to see how controlled the vehicle remains. And of course here, rear-wheel drive only. I like that concept. It really gives you nice swinging out, out of the corners. And also, I feel, sometimes it's even more fun than to drive the all-wheel drive models, also in the electric vehicles, because yes, when you have an electric motor also in the front, you always have the better acceleration figure. But the one thing is the acceleration figure, and the other thing is how much fun it is to drive and how much fun it is to shoot them out of the corners, basically. And that is, to me, always better in the rear-wheel drive only models, which are then not that powerful. But you've seen the acceleration here. It is more than powerful enough. When it's really cold outside, by the way, you can easily also activate the heated steering wheel here at the steering wheel. They are illuminated, look cool. Yeah, they give you some kind of feedback here, so you can press that whole thing, that whole button field in. But of course, I would wish for real buttons, but Volkswagen has realized what their customers wanted in the last years, what they did not deliver them. So, for example, we've seen the new Tiguan, the new Passat. They got back the physical buttons at the steering wheel. And yeah, I don't know if they maybe go for a facelift then back for this one here, because why is it not in this one? And why do we still have the sliders, not the real climate control again? When this vehicle here was decided, because there's like so many years, this pre-cycle of a vehicle, they had decided for this concept. Then came the new CEO, took these decisions back, and you could still change something for the Tiguan and the Passat and so on. But that one here...
There is traffic congestion on D4100 with a delay of 5 minutes due to queuing traffic.
Thank you so much. That is interesting now here. So what happened is I have my Google Maps here via CarPlay on mute. But still, although I did not have the internal GPS running, that was a warning message from the car internal GPS, because the car realized I'm going in that direction here and over this route which has a lot of traffic. That's interesting, right? Overall, it's super silent in here, and of course, being an electric vehicle, these traffic situations are usually less stressful. Automatic transmission anyway, and you have this, this very smooth rolling. By the way, if we are in this sport mode here from the DCC, it is still very comfortable. So that's what I said earlier, that even in the sport mode, you have this span, this variation, where it rules the suspension. So overall, very happy with the setup here of the DCC, good suspension and great comfort. So on the comfort side, it's already awesome. But even more interesting will, of course, be when we are at higher speeds on the motorway. Now heading to the motorway. Once again, put it in sport mode to be even more fun. There we go. And by the way, this speed warning chime I have not deactivated here so far, because it doesn't get activated just by 1 kilometer, only when you exceed a little bit more. And then the chime is also not that bad. The Kia EV9 recently, in the European version, was basically undrivable if you didn't activate that warning chime. Here, it's actually fine. A subtle integration, way better. Also very interesting aspect for sure. So now getting on the motorway, and we have acceleration from 50 kilometers an hour to, what's it here in France? 130 usually, right? Let's go. 100. Plop, 130. That was 50 to 130 kilometers an hour. Went really quick, like that. Very smooth. Now, of course, there's rain outside, but we can even then hear the drops and so on. But from the wind noise, it's actually pretty fine so far. It's a very rough tarmac here, so it's often hard to compare the vehicles really. And even if I would have a dB meter, because it would need to be the very same road, same day, same weather, and so on. Yeah, but so far, wind noise, there's nothing disturbing coming from the side mirrors and so on. And it feels really smooth and planet here on the road, also on the motorway. Lane change, good reaction. Yeah, here's always the rule. I think it's a clever rule in France, that the speed is lower when it's rainy and higher when it's not rainy. The question is, when is the definition of rain? I mean, it does go on the windscreen, but the road is still quite dry. You know, like our guys from France, what would be the rule then? In Germany, there's also there's like a sign that you have to drive slower when it's raining. And then it's always defined of like when the road is really wet. That's the German thing, but not sure if in France defined by the falling raindrops from the sky or also about the road. So here now, it's not too bad today though. Normal lane change, yeah, it's a very smooth driving feeling also here at higher speeds. I like that. And the question will, of course, be about the final consumption here, because that's why I also take more motorway into account here, and also with a little bit faster driving, near 130 kilometers an hour. And we also have some topography changes here, and that's also what I always pay attention to, that the topography changes are evened out, that there's a full loop, and then you can really have a concise figure. Now activating also the lane keeping assist or this cruise control, and you can really relax here, smooth reactions once again. So it also does very well here on the motorway. If you now consider a possible difference to a vehicle that is even more expensive, like Audi, BMW, Mercedes, for example, what would be the crucial difference there? Yeah, maybe that they're a little bit more silent here on the motorway, because when we're a little bit faster here now, it's totally okay. But I actually would say that, for example, like a Mercedes EQE or like the upcoming Audi models, we will also test that, of course. I would say that they are more silent on the motorway. However, once again, tarmac is quite rough, so we have to do more tests also when the road is a little bit smoother. Have you heard that warning chime here, by the way? Probably you didn't even hear that much on camera, and that's a good thing, because at the moment here, the car is telling me, hey, that's 110 kilometers now because of the rain thing, but I'm still driving 130. Yeah. Maybe I have to ask the gendarmerie what to do now. Here on the countryside road, look at that. The car is keeping me in the lane, although I do not have the cruise control and the active lane keeping assist set. So this is the emergency lane keeping assist, so to speak. And it's showing me in the head-up display when the car is realizing that there's a line, and look at that. Okay, now I'm, just to be safe when another car is coming there. But you've already seen that even though it's just the emergency lane keeping assist here, it is being kept in the lane and also in a very smooth way. So that is very impressive. So pretty elaborated, these assistance systems. So please drive in the center of the lane, Thomas. And I can also set here different modes. For example, also the travel assist. This is the most elaborated mode, so to speak. And then when I activate it, once again, feedback in the head-up display, I can set the speed here. When I press a little bit firmer, it's 10 kilometer steps, and small steps is 1 kilometer step. And now here, the active lane keeping assist. It's the difference now set. And this is, of course, then even better, actually. And it is also reacting in a pretty smooth way. So it feels like you can trust these systems. They're still level 2. That means it's not meant to be like fully autonomous or something. You have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. Here now, speed sign recognition. So it automatically set the speed from 90 down to 80. So that's also good. Road is getting a little bit wet, so I'm keeping my hands on the steering wheel just in case. But here you can see even these bends here on the countryside road being mastered very well. So hats off to this elaboration of the assistance systems. And of course I can always take over the steering wheel myself, because here in the countryside road it's also really fun to drive. Now with the wet road there's of course more noise from the outside, but the overall noise level here so far is really low, so very good. Of course here aerodynamics also help for that when the wind is flowing very, very nicely over the vehicle. You really feel that you would be driving a sporty vehicle. It's a low seating vehicle, not truly a sports car, but since all these electric vehicles have a low center of gravity, so much weight in the bottom center of the vehicle, then also they are usually a lot of fun to drive. And the steering input here is really crisp and direct. It also changes again according to the driving mode. For example, we go to the sport mode, then have a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel. But as I told you earlier, you can also go to the individual mode, and then you can, for example, say, hey, I always want a soft suspension, but I want more feedback from the steering wheel, so that would also be possible. Now we're back. What about our consumption and real-world range round loop here? So first of all, I also compare it to the Tesla Model 3. There we recently had with the facelift around 16 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometer, so 4 miles per kilowatt hour. We drove a little bit slower on the motorway there, and it was almost comparable temperatures. Here now temperatures at 15 degrees Celsius, so around 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So here maybe it was a little bit warmer, but then we drove a little bit faster on the motorway, mainly 130 kilometers an hour, so like 80 miles an hour, and then also some city traffic, some topography changes. Result, 19 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometer, so that's worse than with the Tesla Model 3. Let's see, 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. That means for this small battery here, for the 77 kilowatt hour battery, it would mean a real range of 400 kilometers or 250 miles. If you could go for the bigger 86 kilowatt hour battery, that would mean a real range of 500 kilometers or 310 miles. If you have seen our earlier review from the Vw ID7, there we could score way better figures. Why is that? A, it was better in the temperature, really nice and mild temperatures, so it was easier for the battery, not so much heating for the cabin and so on. And we also just drove lower speeds, so we didn't have a big motorway part in there. There were years where I did recommend Volkswagen when someone asked me, hey, I wanted a good car, like an, good average and so on, I can do everything with. And I said, yeah, go for Vw Tiguan, maybe a Seat Ateca, go for Golf Mark 7, Mark 7.5. Then came a time with all these software issues and so on, where I could not really recommend buying a Volkswagen because there was so much wrong actually about it. The systems were always failing and so on and so on. The Golf 8 is actually worse than the Golf 7 and so on and so on. Here I really have to say Volkswagen is back, and I can very well recommend a Volkswagen vehicle again. The ID7 will be a serious competitor in the electric vehicle world. If we could directly compare it to the Tesla Model 3, well, obviously from the exterior, matter of preference, which you like better. Here you have way more space in the rear and also in the trunk. Great practical fastback opening. You have instruments, you have a head-up display. The overall user interface is to me easier. You have a real gear selector still. You don't have to swipe in the infotainment system. So it is more classic as for the user interface. And like with these, hotkeys in the top part of the infotainment system, it is way better to control right now. Once again, yes, manual climate knobs, I still would like that, but we can get along with the sliders. At least they are also now backlit and so on. And the software behind that, the hardware behind the software is also better now. Still, the Tesla software is quicker. That's where they are leading. And the Tesla is also more efficient. So we could not score the same efficiency figures than we scored with the Tesla Model 3. You have to bear in mind that. However, if you go then here for the bigger battery that is available, you can then end up again with the same range or maybe even with a little bit higher range than with the Tesla Model 3, which is then a little bit smaller in the battery than in comparison to the big battery here. So yeah, then I think at the end of the day, it also comes down to the pricing as well. And as I said earlier, list price will be higher with this one than with the Tesla Model 3. By the leasing rates, that could be something way different. Now compare the Tesla Model 3 or the BYD Seal.